Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Very good. Good morning, the people online. Good people online is good evening. Okay. So how many people are there online today? 40. Okay. Very good. So we continue with the topic. Actually, today is the topic of Guru because of the Guru Purnima. For people in Asia, Guru Purnima happened yesterday, but for us here, it's still active. Tonight, we have a ceremony, puja for the Guru. I'm not sure we can broadcast to you, but it will be at 5 p.m. in Pacific time. Special event. I will do puja to 9 different lingam. So, okay. So when we talk about Guru, the most important thing you need to understand is it is a relationship. Okay? A guru doesn't exist by itself. It's like you talk about a husband and a wife. When you talk about a husband, you imply that there is a wife. When you talk about a wife, you imply that there is a husband. Can you be a wife, Narayani? She cannot be a wife because she doesn't have a husband. Yeah. So when we are talking about the word guru, we talk about relationship. Okay? Now, what kind of relationship? It's a relationship of knowledge. Okay? The word guru means in itself the dispeller of darkness. What kind of darkness? It's called spiritual ignorance. That means not knowing your true nature. So it is the highest level of Advaita Vedanta teaching. Advaita Vedanta means a teaching of oneness in consciousness. So what that means, oneness in consciousness? That means that in reality, in truth, everything is only one. There is not me and you. Me sitting here, you sitting there. Yeah? So the me sitting here and you sitting there is a relative reality where we have different bodies, different minds, different roles, and we live in this world of multiplicity of names and forms. We call this world of Maya. And this creates a lot of problem to us because we all the time craving to know the truth about ourselves. We all the time getting disappointed because things always coming and going and changing, and we are unhappy out of separation, feeling all the time I'm missing something, and feeling that I don't quite know why things happen that way. And then we feel quite limited, and then we feel quite in the dark, not knowing the truth about ourselves and about the environment, the reality around us. So when we deal with ourselves, we see that we are changing. Yeah? There is the mind that is changing, so we feel life is changing and we are changing. But there is something also that is not changing, but we are not quite sure. So that's how the person becomes a seeker. A seeker means the one that seek for the truth. Okay? So when you seek for the truth, then you have to go seek at the right place. It is at that time that the student will seek for a teacher. So that is a tradition, the Guru tradition, that is a very old tradition from the time of Shankaracharya, which is 8th century AD. Shankaracharya himself was an enlightened being when he was young. At 6 years old, he knows all the Vedas. He himself took sannyas or renunciation vow when he was maybe 9. But to follow tradition, Shankaracharya need to find his teacher. So he left home and then he found his teacher in the cave. His teacher is named Govinda. And he stayed with the teacher for a certain number of years. Actually, I don't know how long, but long enough for him to do a lot of writing, commentaries on important scriptures. And then the teacher sent him to teach. So this is another important feature. Is the teacher decided that you need to go and propagate the knowledge. So the teacher is an instrument, classical instrument of spiritual realization and spiritual knowledge. And that spiritual knowledge needs to be taught. So that's why it is a tradition of teachers. It's a tradition of teachers. A teacher that teach a teacher, that go and teach a teacher, and then go and teach a teacher. That's how it works. So the student becomes a teacher because that knowledge is alive, is eternal, and the fact that you know the knowledge of oneness implies that you have to teach to others. Why? Because others and you are one. Let's say if I live with you, and then you are sick, then I would naturally try to find remedy to help you, to help your sickness, is it not? Because I care about you. So the same thing, the way how the teacher care about the students is to impart knowledge, is to give them knowledge. So from that come what we call the Gurukula system, which is a system where the student go to the teacher's house and learn. So now there's a different level. See, when the student, 6 years old or so, traditionally, go to the teacher's house, the Gurukula, and learn Sanskrit, learn scripture, learn everything. That student is not really what we call traditionally the seeker. So They are preparing for knowledge. And eventually the teacher has a lot of time to understand the students' readiness. So, student's readiness means the student has to be an adhikari. And the word is adhikari. Adhikari means a ready student, a qualified student. A qualified student means the person that is ready for spiritual knowledge. It is said that spiritual knowledge is already within you. You have all the knowledge that you need to know. But there is some form of veils that are covering your eyes, and then you need the instrument or a mean, an external kind of help in order for you to wake up to knowledge. So, the guru at that time is the instrument for you to wake up to knowledge. So, in the case of the students that were young, then they prepare themselves slowly. They learn everything, and sometimes it takes more than 12 years, and the teacher teaches them like a parent. And then the teacher decides if they should continue the path, the direct path of self-realization, becoming a renunciate, or go and become a householder. So that is traditionally the teacher decides so after a certain number of years. But to become an adhikari, or a person that is ready, the teacher would look at the student and see a few criteria. Okay, so I'm going to list it. So the criteria are: the student need to have discrimination power. That means a high intellectual power to be able to intuit the truth and the not truth, the self and the not self. They have to have some kind of idea. And second, the student has to display the quality of detachment. To be able to be detached truly, the student has to have an idea, an awareness of what is the truth, what is the self, what is the Atman. Then they will not be involved in the not truth. They will not be involved in what we call the not self. They have an idea, but not complete full enlightenment or realization, but they have an idea. That's why they are a ready student. That's why they are an adhikari or a seeker. The other qualities are: they need to be calm, have the emotions under control, Because if you are not calm, then your mind will be up and down, and your mind will distort whatever it is that you see about yourself and about others. So there's a lot of things to do, a lot of practices to do in order for your mind to be calm and not be swayed by the emotions. So all the yoga practices that you learn are for calming the mind. The asana, the pranayama, japa, all this is to calm the mind, so that you have the quality necessary to realize yourself. So sama, dhamma means have the sense under control. If you all the time is craving for something, let's say that you live in ashram and you always crave ice cream and chocolate, or coffee, or alcohol, or something. Something that you feel like you cannot live without, and you have strong desire about it, so that's why you call craving. Then you are not a ready person. Okay? Because to know the truth, the self, you have to turn within and be calm and have the sense under control. And the third quality is the turning resolutely to inside. Sometimes it is described as a condition of having enough. Okay, so that is quite a good criteria. Because if you don't have enough of what? Enough of the sensual pleasure, enough of seeking experiences, enough of looking in the external world to find some happiness outside, then your mind will be restless looking, and you running here and running there and doing this and doing that, and you feel that, living an austere, ascetic or monastic life is not allowing you to have this kind of experience. So then you have to come to a point where you are turning within. I say resolutely, that means you know that it's there in the mind, and it's something that where you come from, and therefore there will always be temptations and a different idea that might come to your mind, but you know also, and that's where you are a ready student, is you know also that it doesn't give you anything. So that's why you turn away from it. Okay, so that condition to be fulfilled, satisfied with with the inner world. Not craving for experience. And then you have to be able to forbear. This is another important quality of the disciple. You have to be able to bear. You have to be strong and resistant. That means that you have to be able to bear the difficulties that for certain will be brought by your karma. Everyone is born out of karma. That means the result of your past actions, even though now you are not thinking like this anymore, but the result of past actions will come back in this life, and it would create difficulties to you. You have no clue when it will come. When all of a sudden somebody insults you, when all of a sudden somebody says all kinds of things, and when all of a sudden you become sick, or anything can happen, and that is called the result of karma. So the seeker, or the one that is ready, has to be ready to bear the difficulties of life, the challenges, the daily challenges or the circumstances, without complaining, without blaming, without collapsing, without running away. The fifth virtue or quality is the student has to have faith. This is very important. Faith in the teaching. You have to have faith in the teaching for you to practice. Because if you don't have faith in the teaching, you will not practice. Faith in the teacher that gives you the teaching, otherwise it will be difficult for you to practice. And faith in yourself that you will be able to get there. If you have not faith, but you have doubt, this is a big obstacle. You have doubt in your capacity, you have doubt in the system of teaching, you have doubt in the teacher, then at that time all your energy will be gone. So even though the effort has to come from you, from the student, because the moment that you stop the practice, then the teaching will disappear, the guru will disappear, your seeking will disappear, and your consciousness will change. Instead of the consciousness of mumukshutva, which is the desire for liberation, which is the reason, the motivation for you to start at the first place, it can switch in a moment. Then at that time, you will not have discrimination. That means you will not be able to see anymore the truth and not truth, the self and not self. You will no longer become a seeker. The objects of the world become for you the truth. Your body, your mind, this life will become for you the truth. And then it can be in a moment, everything change. So this is very important for you to understand. That it can change anytime. If you cease seeking, everything change. You will change, your world will change, you will see things differently. So, it's called faith. Why? You don't have the direct experience, but you know inside of you that it's there, the truth is there. So therefore, you need faith that is helping you to bridge yourself at the moment and your realized self in the future that you are seeking for. You're seeking to be a realized, illumined, knowledgeable person. So, you need the faith in between that will give you the way. And then when you get the direct experience yourself, now you walk on the path, you carry on with enthusiasm your practice, you continue studying, you continue remembrance, then everything becomes clear for you. At that time, you don't need faith, because you have direct knowledge. So faith here is not blind faith. Faith here means knowledge, but not 100% direct knowledge. It's a knowledge that allows you to keep going until you have the direct experience, until you have the proof of your own direct experience. So faith is a very important quality, because we live in the unknown. When you live in Maya, not knowing, everything can make you lost. Because we have a very limited understanding of ourselves. So from a very limited understanding of ourselves, due to our identification with our body and mind and separateness, it's like impossible to break through this limitation. And you need a lot of courage, and you need a lot of encouragement. And you need to also have a example. Yeah? So you are not feeling that you are in the dark and you're going toward the darkness and you're going to fall forever and ever and disappear. So that's a feeling when you don't know where you go. Yeah? And for me, my life is like this, you know. Now I become a director of the ashram, or the teacher, sitting here talking to you. That doesn't mean that it was always been like that, right? So many steps I have to make. And the confidence I have to gain, it takes a long time. Yeah? And sometimes you feel like this. You feel like you are on the edge of the cliff and you're going to fall down like this. Because the unknown, you don't know. And not necessarily that you are in connection with the self, because the self is Satchidananda, all knowledge. If you are in connection with the self, the all knowledge source of all knowledge, then you are not afraid. Everything will be there for you when you need. Yeah? No hurry, you're all the time knowing, and you're all the time okay, everything is all the time perfect. So this is when you are in connection with yourself. Not necessarily when you are not. And every step will create a lot of anxiety. Everything happen in life will create a lot of anxiety. And you think you cannot do. I give you a concrete example. I'm not sure if I have talked about that. I'll talk again. Yeah, for me, one good example of faith is when I was building the kitchen here at the ashram. But because life in the ashram is a life of spiritual learning. Otherwise, you are not in the ashram. You are learning something. That's why you are here. And everything, in fact, is a test of faith. And I thought that somebody would come here and build the kitchen, because it's an old kitchen and we need to rebuild. But then the person left. And then, then I end up have to consider that I will be the person that will take on this project. But I've never been a building contractor in my life, and I don't really know the complexity of building a commercial kitchen. It's not just any kitchen, it's a commercial kitchen that have a lot of criteria you need to fit in, and it imply plumbing, building, and it imply knowing a lot of regulations and you know, the fire system very complex. Yeah, even the plumbing system also is very complex. Even the door system, if you go and count, there is 9 doors. Yeah, and double door. This is swinging in and this swinging out, and this is like this. Complicated, everything complicated. The electricity is complicated because this kind of light and this kind of. So I never done that before. And I stop and I start. I feel, oh no, I cannot do this. We have no money also. You know, it's not like all the money is there and I can hire a contractor and that's done, you know. It's not like that. So it takes a lot of faith. That's a point. It takes a lot of faith to think that you can do it, to think that money will come, to think that knowledge will come when you need it. And it was like quite an adventure for me at that time. And what I can say looking back is the only thing that allowed me to continue to do this, it's a month's work, is faith. So when I come out of that battle, with my mind, because you know, it's every day is a battle, and you are blaming things, why it's so complicated, you know, and then your mind just think, oh, it's okay, I just go buy some light bulb, you know, or some knobs or some doors. It's a simple thing. But when you go into the construction industry, there's thousands of light bulbs that will fit exactly this and exactly that, and knobs and then this and that, and your mind refused to go into it, and money and everything. So what I'm saying, life is made of faith. Everything. Every day of your life, you don't know where you go, what do, you have doubt, about your choices, you have doubt about yourself, you have doubt about other people, you have doubt about your relationships, and you stall. Faith makes you go forward, break through all limitations, all obstacles, and then when you look back, you laugh at yourself. It's really not a big deal. And then you understand the lesson that you need to learn. Because we have to learn the lesson from the point of view that you don't know. Because you will not learn anything from the point of view that you already know. Because you already know something that is easy, then you don't need to struggle and have difficulty with. Then you have difficulty with only when you find yourself in situation that you've never been before. So then you need faith. So that's number 5th virtue, very important to build up. All these virtues are something that you have to build up. Sama, tranquility, you have to build up. More and more calm. Control senses, you need to build up. Cessation, turning inward, without hankering about something that you are missing, you need to build up. What else? Forbearance, you need to build up. Okay, so before everything happened, and you complain and blame forever. Now you cease complaining, and then you accept, and you become strong, and you are okay, go ahead, whatever, I'm fine. So this is, you need to build up that attitude. And last is faith, you need to build up faith. You need to know that you know, in fact, that this everything is but a test, and you are calmly facing whatever and not having doubt, and then know that everything will work out by itself. And it takes time, but it's not in your hand to decide, when you need what and which information will come to you and how everything will work out. So you have to have faith. And the last one is called samadhana. Samadhana means balance with attention. What that means? I mean, in that long journey of qualifying yourself, you need to have balance. At the same time, never lose your goal. Your eyes will be fixing on the goal, and something happens make you lose balance, and then you stand up again, and then you fix your eyes on the goal, and then you might lose balance again, but then you stand back up again, and then fix your eyes there and carry on. So this is a very important virtue, quality. Why? Because everything is there to pull you down. The different forces are there to pull you down. And you might yourself also forget the goal. Your eyes are not fixed enough to know that there is a knowledge there that you need to know. You need to acquire and you need to qualify yourself. So therefore, you tumble all the time. And you stop and then you tumble because you don't have this. So the quality of being in balance and never lose yourself need to be acquired. And the last thing that the student need to have is called mumukshutva, means the desire to know. The desire to know means a feeling that something is there for you to know, and you need to know it. You see, I say it's a feeling, or it's a knowledge that there is a better place for you to be, sense of freedom, happiness, fulfillment, whatever that you are seeking for and you are struggling for is there for you, available. But you are being well, you are working on it. Okay, so the mumukshutva means no matter what that you found yourself in, you continuously seeking because you have the desire to know. You never give up. You never give up. Okay? You want to give up because you want to settle down. Whatever like the world is saying that you should do, then you say, okay, I'll be like everybody, and it seems, to calm down. It makes my mother happy, it makes my friends, happy that I look like them, and it makes my own subconscious mind happy. So therefore, I settle down and I don't meditate anymore, I don't do yoga anymore, I don't go to ashram anymore, I don't seek anymore, I don't question anymore, I don't have more self-inquiry, and everything is fine. So that is the contrary of mumukshutva. Mumukshutva is the constant questioning. Okay? Because you want to know the truth, and you want to know the truth from the point of view of you, not the point of view of of somebody else, or the point of view of your friend or your family. It's from your point of view. You need to be liberated yourself. Okay? Because this knowledge, the self-knowledge, the knowledge of the truth, of the enlightenment, you have to do it alone. You can have maybe friends on the journey, you can have maybe the teacher on the journey that you can count on, but you have to do it yourself and alone. You cannot conform to anything. People can give you some encouragement, but they are not there to hold your hand all the time. Even your teacher is not there to hold your hand all the time. Yeah? But your strength of character and your faith and your knowledge and your own intellect and your own lifestyle that allow your intellect to be awakened and to be clear and not to be blind, that you have. But you need to do it yourself. Okay? So that is the qualifications of the spiritual student. And the qualification of the teacher is a person that has to know. There's a whole chapter in the book Bliss Divine, Swami Sivananda wrote, that the teacher has to have an injunction from God. And this is something that you need to understand. How can a person have an injunction from God? That means it has to come from a very deep source and it come from a very high source that you need to teach now. You need to teach. You know, and you need to share. Okay? So the teacher has to have the injunction from God to do the job. The teacher has to be knowing the ultimate truth, knowing the self, or have that consciousness of the truth, be able to live according to the truth and not being subject to the Maya of the untruth. That is called the definition of an enlightened person, that a person all the time, in all conditions, be able to see the light and the truth, no matter what. So that means that the teacher has to have good, have to already tread the path. The teacher has to already tread the path, ABC path, the guidance of the scripture, to have the ethic foundation, has to know all the practices, has to, gone already on the path, maybe struggling in some section of the path, but have gone long way before you. Therefore, they know. They know what? They know all the difficulties of the path, and they have gone to a place where they can, they are free from this, but at the same time they know where they have been and where you are now, and then from there they can help you. So the teacher, it is said according to Swami Sivananda, has double consciousness. What is double consciousness? I mean, he has the consciousness of the truth, but he has also the consciousness of the world, of the mind. So therefore, he's able to bridge. The teacher is able to bridge the limited consciousness that we all have, identifying with our body and mind and senses, and then the supreme consciousness or the self-knowledge. So the teacher has to be able to know both and has to be able to bridge for you when you come there, when you are at a place where you are not knowing, confused, then the teacher can bridge for you. Bridge means can help you to overcome the obstacles and to regain clarity. Okay, so the Guru tradition is an old tradition from the time of Shankaracharya, who has created the fourth school, fourth institution of learning, and then has installed his main four disciples to be the Shankaracharya, or the teacher of this school, and this whole, I have this nice book here that give in detail everything. It's so nice that there's somebody that do research and wrote a book on the teacher tradition, and it has so much references, so much knowledge is here. It's a scholarly book on the teacher tradition. And it talks about lineage, and it talks about guru-shishya relationship, guru-disciple relationship. It talks about, I just opened at random this book. Here it says, to render service to the teacher is a primary obligation of the student, seemingly more important than study itself. I mean, the student has to do karma yoga, serving the teacher. When you go to the teacher's home, you have to do service. Now, why? Through service, a strong bond is established between the guru and the student. The pupil must have intellectual discipline to master the meaning of the sacred text, grow in moral discipline, bring the meaning of the sacred text into the student's daily life. The qualification of the student must fulfill, and his consequent duties gradually will bring about an introversion, a catharsis, and a capacity for greater personal experience. Okay, so this I want to read about. There's a lot here, but I want to talk about lineage, okay? Because what the Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center organization always display the two pictures, Master Sivananda, Swami Vishnu Devanji, and then people get very confused, because one guru is already difficult to understand, now two, and people don't understand that. But it represents the lineage, okay? That the lineage means the knowledge that passed through, from time immemorial, to Swami Sivananda, to Swami Vishnu Devanji, to Swami Sitaramananda, who talked to you today. Okay? So, what lineage means? Lineage is to store in memory and to transmit the knowledge that leads to self-realization. So there is a memory, a collective memory, if you want, from time immemorial, that store this knowledge, this self-knowledge. So the Shankaracharya himself always his teaching with praise and salutations of the teachers of the past. And he praised his personal teacher. He wrote that the teachers have awakened those asleep and has completely saved me. So he said, I bow down to my teacher, a knower of Brahman, who collected for us the nectar of knowledge from the Vedanta, like a bee collecting the best honey from flowers. So when we talk about lineage, we talk about traditional knowledge. Lineage increases the value of the teaching as it passes through the memory of the ages. Since Vedanta proposes a rational understanding of the self as a prelude to an intuition of the self, initiation into tradition comes from memory of the past. So that's what a lineage means. Means that it is a traditional knowledge that has passed through the test of time. Initiation into knowledge. So that's why initiation is very important. Initiation into knowledge is a familiar point of departure in this Indian tradition, and in the Vedanta it extends. Sometimes the language is not very clear to understand, and in the Vedanta it extends into a lifelong practice of bringing to memory the line of past teachers. So I can remember, I have the direct connection with Swami Vishnudevanji. Most of you here don't have. I have a direct connection with him, and he has a direct connection with Swami Sivananda. And Swami Sivananda has the connection with his teacher and with the lineage of Advaita Vedanta and Shankaracharya. Okay? So, through the connection, you tap in the eternal knowledge. And that connection is a connection of seeking knowledge, like I just spoke about. That you have to be seeking knowledge. My connection with Swami Vishnudevanji is a connection of knowledge. Okay? Because I was seeking knowledge. I was not even aware that I was seeking knowledge. I was 28 years old. Yeah? But I knew that there is more to this life than the life I was living. Yeah? And I knew inside that there must be something that I was seeking. Okay? The 100%. I was seeking something, but I knew that it was 100%. Yeah? 100%. You know what means 100%? Something that is absolute. Something that you can 100% trust. Something that you can 100% believe, if you like. Yeah? And you are seeking. Until 28, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I met a lot of people, I did a lot of things. But that never gave me the 100% I was seeking. So I never come to rest. I was never resting. So all the time seeking. Okay? So, when I met Swami Vishnudevanji, it's not the person that I meet. I hope you understand. It's not a person that I meet. Actually, when I meet the person, Swami Vishnudevanji person, nothing happened. He's just a man. Yeah, he's an Indian man, a small size. He talks English I don't understand. So I could have just walked away. What is this? What people make a big fuss about this person? Yeah, it's not. But it's not the person. Yeah, it was me that I was seeking to meet me through the medium of that person. Yeah, I did not have the self-awareness. I cannot see myself because I always see myself through the eyes of. I'm saying about me, but I'm talking in general. It's about you here. Okay, it's not about me. Okay, it's a process. You cannot see yourself because you can see yourself only through the eyes of other people. In the eyes of society, in the eyes of your family, in the eyes of the books, in the eyes of your secular teachers in the university, and so on. cannot see myself. And even though I was called a mature person, living a life, I hold a position, and I did a lot of public things, but I still did not know myself. I still did not know the goal, and I cannot see myself. Okay? So then when I meet with Swami Vishnudevanji, of the teacher, it's not the body of the person, it's not even the person that I'm meeting, actually I'm meeting myself. Through the medium of the teacher, oops, it bounces back to see me. See, this is so interesting. It's a process that is so interesting. Yeah? So through the eye of awareness, say, yeah, because the Guru has the awareness. So through the eye of the awareness, you start to be aware yourself. You start to be self-aware. Okay? And that's when the self-awareness starts to develop more and more. Yeah, you just look. Sometimes you just look. Yeah? Of course, I was sitting and listening to lecture day in and day out for years. And I was serving the Guru or the teacher for years. Yeah, and I was tuning to what is it that I need to learn, for years. Yeah? But something happened also beyond all these words, beyond all this action. It's an inner tuning. And that is difficult to understand unless you start to do it. And the inner tuning. And something becomes sharp. The picture becomes very sharp. I remember my mind was full of thoughts. So much thoughts, so much junk in the mind. We talk about vrittis, all the vrittis, is there in the mind. The mind is full. Yeah? And I was a person of the world. I was hearing news, I was watching TV or reading newspaper, because you are a person of the world, so you have to know the way how the world functions. Yeah, but you have no idea, you have no clue that all these are not helping you. Actually, it's clouds your mind, it makes you, become more confused, yeah, and you are not able to see yourself. So when I met with the Guru, I did not know that he's a Guru, actually. It's just the school that I go to, and then he has a lot of prana and knowledge, yeah. But then I have to qualify myself as a student, as a disciple, for a long time. Yeah. Years. I don't know exactly, I didn't write, but it takes years for you to realize, oh, I understand what means a Guru now. Oh, I understand that I am a disciple. Oh, I understand this relationship of Guru-disciple is meant for knowledge. See? It did not happen overnight. It's a process of self-realization. Okay? So you cannot talk of a Guru independent from a student, and each student has a different idea of the Guru. The same Swami Vishnudevanji appear to be teaching this knowledge to Swami Sitaramananda, and the same Swami Vishnudevanji would appear and teach different knowledge to Swami Nyaneshwariyananda, and appear and teach different knowledge to Swami Dhammananda. Everyone has their own unique way how to step on the path of self-realization or of truth. And you cannot compare notes. It's difficult. Why? Because each person is completely unique. You are learning a unique lesson in this life. Yeah? You are removing the unique obstacles, unique veil over your own eyes. You have a different personality that comes from your years and years and lifetimes of learning.
You are in a different path, you have a different position in your journey of knowledge. Therefore, the Guru also will appear to you differently and will teach you differently. So unless you know it and you're walking on the path yourself, you cannot just take the experience of somebody. You can hear their testimony, but you cannot really understand, because they have their own unique relationship with the teacher and the unique learning lesson. It's not it's not a public thing, or it's not a stand, that's a one size fit all, like a shirt, one size fit all. It's not like that. But why the teacher can have so many different types of students? Because they have the very high knowledge, so they fit to all the different types of students. Yeah? But, some teacher would have a few students, some teacher would have a lot of students, some teacher would have a universal group, or an international group, a multicultural, multi-ages, academic knowledge, different kinds of students. And a teacher has to be very advanced in order to impart the knowledge to so many different types of people. And the imparting of the knowledge is not necessarily just talking. You see, and that is something is difficult to understand. Sometimes it's just a look. Then the person just wake up. So my journey with Swami Vishnudevanji, I didn't talk too much. He didn't talk so much. Sorry. He gave lecture non-stop, but he didn't talk too much. Okay, so, but whatever he says, I think very carefully of what he says, and it's always open up something of my own journey. Okay? So it's only our ego that expects the teacher to behave a certain way. And if the teacher doesn't behave a certain way and do not give us what we want, then we blame the teacher. We don't see in that our learning lesson. And that's where it's very difficult. Because you have to learn the lesson that you did not learn. Because, if you know already, then you don't need to learn that lesson. Okay? So because you don't know that you need to learn the lesson, and when you learn the lesson, it's not like you are ready to learn. It's always you have to struggle to learn. And the more the lesson is difficult, the more you struggle. And when you struggle, oftentimes you blame the teacher. Yeah? Because you are under the tutelage of the teacher, under the coaching of the teacher, so therefore you blame the teacher. That's very normal. Sometimes I do blame Swami Vishnudevanji, but Swami Sivananda also, I remember, I blamed them plenty. I said, this is too complicated. Why you make it too complicated? Why you talk so much words that I don't get it? Like this, when Swami Sivananda talked about immortality, in the beginning I was very irritated. Because I said, I just want to live my life. I just want to be positive, live my life. And when they talk about immortality, who cares about immortality? Yeah. So, and then Swami Vishnudevanji, he tells stories and he laughs, and all the time he tells stories, and laugh, and I said, why does he tell all these stories? It doesn't make any sense. Why did he tell the stories? Why he didn't tell me all this serious thing? And he tells stories and he laughs. He tells stories, for example, of
a couple, an old couple. Time almost is over now. It's quite over now. But I just slip in one story. They tell a story of an old couple. Is in the newspaper. Actually, he always teach from the newspaper. From the magazine and from the newspaper, to give some real example. Okay, so the real example is a couple died on the dance floor. That was a newspaper. Report the story of an old couple died on the dance floor, and he tell that story, and he was, laughing. And I said to him, "Why you laugh about this? The poor old couple that died on the dance floor. You should have compassion toward them, and why you would tell that story in class and you were laughing about this?" I was thinking like this. I'm thinking that Swamiji is not compassionate and all these things. It took me a long time, because even a story like this, it took me a long time to understand. Years and years and years. Not just one day. Then I understood the teaching. The teaching is about, you need to behave according to your age, according to your maturity. He's laughing because a person that is older, and they want to act like they are young. Then they go and dance on the dance floor until they die. This is something that's incredible, stupidity of human mind. So they don't mature according to their age. They think that they have to be young and sexy and passionate forever and ever. So this is the stupidity of human mind. He was laughing about it, because the way how he teach is to make you laugh. Because when you laugh, then you learn better the lesson. When you talk something very seriously, maybe your intellect understands, but something else you don't understand. That's why Swami Vishnu, the way how he teach, is all the time by humor. He's all the time laughing. He's all the time telling stories. And I was laughing. I was sitting in front, and I remember now, I was sitting in front of the satsang, and laughing and hold my belly and roll on the ground. That's how it works. And I was a very serious person. Because he's able to make me laugh. And then I think about it. Of course, it's a laughing therapy, because you are too serious. You get to the ashram, you take yourself so seriously. You think that self-realization is a big serious business. That's the one thing. And then all the time you are so tense and so on. So he makes you laugh just to help you. And laughing therapy, that's one thing. But also then eventually I saw that he has that technique of taking everything in a humorous manner, in a light manner, in order for you to somehow get it. So I'm just telling that one story. It takes time to understand the teaching. Okay? So so we talk about the teacher is the one who sustains and transmits the lineage. Okay, so I'm transmitting the lineage, sitting here talking. I'm transmitting the teaching different ways. I can be very serious, but also I can tell stories. Okay, so then, I don't know, you can get to the book, but I'm not going to read. He called it the teacher sannyasi. Now the teacher has to be a monastic, okay? So this organization is not like any other organization of yoga, because it's a monastic lineage. Mostly the teacher or the acharya are sannyasis. So they are monastic sannyasis, and they impart what we call Advaita Vedanta, to follow the tradition. And not every yoga organization can do that, because they don't have that lineage. Okay, they have the lineage of yoga, but the lineage of Advaita Vedanta is another different thing. So this organization is yoga and Vedanta, both. And Vedanta is most important, yeah, but mostly people don't understand because they have to start first with the preparation of, like I said earlier, the qualifications. In order for you to be calm, in order for you to be, centered, in order for you to be balanced, you need to practice Hatha Yoga. Yeah? And then Hatha Yoga is that which gives you this asana, pranayama, and meditation, and then eventually you can understand called Advaita Vedanta. So the organization is more known as a yoga organization, but in fact it is a Vedantic monastic lineage that follow a system, classical system of transmission of the highest spiritual knowledge, and it oftentimes is misunderstood. So that's enough for today. It's an important topic, and I share with you during Guru Purnima. So tonight the puja will be at 5 p.m. Our California time. Can the people here witness the puja, Swami?
Yeah, LA want to say this is for 7:30. People want to join this.
What is it?
LA is put this 7:30 also.
LA has a puja at 7:30. We have the puja at 7 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock. Okay? So you can tune in if you like. Okay, we would try to broadcast you. It will be in a different location. We will try. Yeah, we will not broadcast to the whole world, but we will broadcast to you. Okay, those who are now attending, then you are invited. Okay, I don't invite the whole world. Yeah. Why I don't invite the whole world? Because the whole world doesn't understand, so I don't invite the whole world. Yeah? But I invite you because you went through a few days listening and you bear to listen and you know more or less what it means, so I invite you. Okay? Swamiji, you need to know the people that attend today so that you can invite them. Okay? We don't broadcast live to the whole world, okay? So it's not like we are discriminating against people and people can criticize and this and that, anything you do, you can be criticized. So, okay. Hare Om Tat Sat. Oh.